So I gotta talk about this on the second channel again. Because this is going semi-viral again. And I'm going to be real here. I think that there is a time and place to talk about topics, and the second channel again, this channel is just going to be for topics I don't want to put out on the main channel, or just to get a general idea when it comes down to it, how people react to certain topics and what people want to listen to. And again, this channel will always mostly be non-fever players. That's what it's going to mostly be, but there will be the occasional fever video, or it is going to be almost a kind of response to certain things. But at the end of the day, this happened yesterday, and the reason why I'm talking about this is that I don't want to make a whole video on the same channel, but more has come out. So she's arguing with Breanna in January, and Caitlin Clark just gets up and walks away. Like, she literally just gets up and walks away. And the reason why this, for me, I'm having to make this video is that the narrative around the situation is just, part of the narrative around the situation is just wrong. So, what has ended up happening here is that the narrative is that she got subbed off in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden, after getting subbed off in the fourth quarter, she then argued with the coaches and sat on the end of the bench. Look who is on the bench right now. It is Sophie Cunningham when she gets up, Shatori Walker-Kimbrough, KK Timpson, Raven Johnson. Raven Johnson came in for her in that fourth quarter. When was this picture taken? This picture was taken to end the first quarter. This picture was taken to end the first quarter when the defensive breakdown happened, which is a weird one because when I made a video on it, everyone was kind of in agreement that it was something that happened in the first quarter. It was when she was kind of going at Maisha Hines-Allen and Ty Harris and stuff when they were going at each other. And then all of a sudden, the narrative has now changed publicly to that this was Caitlin Clark going mad during the fourth quarter. So I do feel like I need to kind of talk about this, because when the narrative changes, you've got to basically discuss it. So this happened in the first quarter, and basically she got into an argument with Stephanie White and Breanna in January, which means it was Breanna in January, which means it was an over defensive possession. So I'm pretty confident it was the defensive possession where basically, I don't want to show the footage just on the off chance it gets copyrighted, but basically, we're going to bring in the paint online, the usual. So, the Indiana Fever blitz screens. What the Indiana Fever do is they want to blitz screens. So, if you got the half the court here, bring out the 3-point line here. So, if the offensive team is set up like most offensive teams in the WNBA, where it is person with the ball is here, then you've got here, either there or there. Basically, they're either in a dunker spot or spreading out, and the bigs coming up to set a screen here. So what the Indiana Fever do is, you can see it in all their clips. What they want to do is they want to refuse the screen, and the player that is guarding the big is supposed to play a bit of drop coverage here. They're icing the screen, and they eventually go down and recover. Or if this player has to stick onto this player, the defender here comes here, this defender drops down, this defender comes across, and this defender comes there. Like, it's a lot of kind of scrambling and stuff like that. But in this scenario here, that's normally when it's a big. In this scenario, they set up like this. Seattle set up like this. Offensive player, offensive player, offensive player, offensive player. But this was a guard and this was a guard. So Caitlin, they set like a garbage screen that never connected, but they came and set a screen here. So Caitlin went up here. So Ty Harris is guarding here. Lexi Hull's guarding here. So what ended up happening, and Kelsey Mitchell's down here, whoever the big is here. So what ended up happening was Caitlin jumped that screen. Ty Harris, because bigs are supposed to drop, but it was kind of just guard to guard conventional, stayed on her man. So Caitlin, by icing the screen, just gave up the basket. And whoever was in the corner just stood in the corner, and Kelsey Mitchell just didn't play up. It was a complete defensive breakdown. And the likelihood of the scenario is it's Caitlin Clark. This is, again, I don't know what's going on, but knowing that happens in basketball plenty of times, the likelihood of the argument is Caitlin Clark being like, I did what you told me to do. I did what we were supposed to do. Everybody else messed up our coverage. And Breanna January is like, yeah, but you still gave your player an open layup. Like, because she overjumped. She overjumped on the ice. Like, on ice, you're supposed to keep them as close to the sideline as possible. But she overjumped that and literally gave up an open layup. It was literally a defensive possession where 5 of them were wrong. But obviously, if all 5 get it wrong, whoever's on the ball is going to be the one that gets blamed. Like, that is always the case. Like, if you've ever played, that is what happens. And especially in real time. In real time, the coaches just a lot of times see that, like, a player gives up an open layup, and that's all they think about. That's all they're saying is like, well, they gave up the open layup, we're going to go at them. And also, at the same time, Caitlin Clark has, I would say behind the scenes, Caitlin Clark is somebody that argues with the coaches all the time. And when it comes to Breanna January and Steph White, they know in that regard that, yes, we can go at Caitlin. She's going to go back. We can go back harder, and it's not going to affect anything. Why is it not going to affect anything? She came out and had a 9-point second quarter. Caitlin Clark came out in the second quarter after this happened and had 9 points. She had 9 points. She was in cruise control in the third quarter. Caitlin was absolutely in cruise control. Got her 20.10 assists, and they just pulled her. Again, we don't know how Caitlin Clark feels about that. We can all have our opinions as fans, but there's no point speaking for Caitlin in that. But that's all this was. Like, can we not use something that happens so commonly in basketball as something that's not? Like, it is a defensive breakdown. And realistically, when it comes down to it, somebody is the cause for a defensive breakdown. Like, I think for me, the most at-fault player in that defensive possession was Ty Harris, because she's just not doing anything, as well as Kelsey Mitchell for not helping and Maisha Hines-Allen for hugging the corner. But again, you don't overhelp strong side because you're giving up a 3. Kelsey Mitchell giving up an open layup instead of allowing the player to try dump down into a mid-range shot or make an extra pass. Kelsey Mitchell was equally at fault, but Caitlin was at fault as well. Caitlin didn't play perfect defense either. She didn't play the most perfect defense either. So, yeah, that's all that possession was, and it happens. It happens. This is a team as a whole, players and coaches, who are increasingly frustrated by the defense. And for me, I think Breanna January has put in a system that is disastrous. Like, disastrous. The Indiana Fever are near the bottom of the league in defense, and they have had the second easiest strength of schedule. That is why I think it's a complete disaster, because, again, the second bottom in strength of, or second easiest strength of schedule, and like third or fourth bottom in like defensive rating. It's really bad. And the thing is that you're now in a situation where you are running a defense that, if we've seen practice footage of it, where they are trying to scramble. If you are playing a high intensity scramble defense where you pick up super high, where they pick up the ball handler higher than nearly any other team. They're trying to blitz and scramble. But you need a bunch of high IQ defenders with length to do that. This team is a bunch of slow cones who are not the smartest defenders in the world. And that includes Caitlin Clark, not the smartest defender in the world. Caitlin Clark at least gambles well. And the scariest thing about this is Caitlin Clark's the best perimeter defender on this team. Not named Raven Johnson, but she's so foul prone that, yeah, Caitlin Clark's the best perimeter defender at this current point on this team. It's scary. Like, that is scary. And look, I've already made a video on the main channel about this, but I have to talk about this because a narrative has now changed that this is the coaches picking on Caitlin. No, this is a defensive breakdown. Caitlin was subbed off immediately after it. So everyone that's currently on the floor, Breanna January can't get into a shouting match of 4 people currently on the floor. So, look, at the end of the day, it is a nothing burger that got caught on camera. An absolute nothing burger. And she went out and had 9 points in the next quarter. So, if you're saying, oh, this is affecting Caitlin Clark. No, it isn't. Someone's saying, this response here, you're not in any position to tell Caitlin Clark how to play ball. Breanna January is one of the best defenders in WNBA history. Perimeter defenders. So, yes. Breanna January absolutely is in a position to tell Caitlin Clark how to play defense. That being said, on that one specific scenario, I don't think Caitlin Clark is in the wrong. But in general, yes, she is absolutely in a position to tell Caitlin Clark how to play defense because she's one of the greatest defenders to ever live at the WNBA level.